This is Kamera. My first few minutes with God, day number 301, Luke chapter 16 through chapter 17, verse 10. A manager, an employee, he learns he's going to be fired. So he decides to bargain with his clients. He calls them up basically and he offers them a deal. For instance, if they owe 800 gallons of olive oil, then he'll mark it down to where they only owe 400. He's thinking once he's fired, he'll have friends he can count on, right? So then how about the employer? He actually admires the employee's dishonest shrewdness. So Jesus says, children of this world are more shrewd in dealings with the world around them than children of the light. Jesus says, use your worldly resources to benefit others. Yeah, and make friends. Jesus says, so when your possessions are gone, they will welcome you. Jesus says, if you are faithful in the little things, you will be faithful in large things. If you are dishonest in little things, you won't be honest with greater responsibilities. No one can serve two masters, Jesus says. You will hate one and love the other, and you will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and be enslaved to money. Jesus says, what this world honors is detestable in the sight of God. Jesus says it is easier for heaven and earth to disappear than for the smallest point of God's law to be overturned. Isn't that something? Jesus talks about a rich man and a poor beggar named Lazarus. They both die. The rich man goes to everlasting torment, and Lazarus is taken up to a heavenly banquet. So from a distance, the rich man, he sees Lazarus sitting with Abraham, and so he requests that Lazarus come bring him a dip of water. So Abraham tells him that's not even possible. Then he requests that Lazarus be sent to his 5 brothers to warn them of this place. And so Abraham tells him, well, you know what? He has Moses and what the prophets had warned them. He says they can read what was written. Then he tells them that if they will not listen to Moses and what the prophets had written, they will not be persuaded by someone who is risen from the dead. So guys, we got to believe. We got to believe what is written. Ask God to help us to believe, right? But we have to be open to when he tells us, not talk ourselves out of it. Jesus says there will always be temptations to sin. He says, so watch yourselves. Watch yourselves. And he says, woe to the person who does the tempting. What sorrow awaits them, right? So he says, if another believer sins, then you should rebuke that person. And let's say someone does you wrong, and they do you wrong often. Jesus says you have to forgive them every time you are wronged. Isn't that something? And so Jesus says that if we have the faith the size of a mustard seed, we can tell a tree to go into the sea and it will go. So when we speak, it will obey. Yeah, I'm doubting my faith right now. About to make me go out there and talk to a tree. Isn't that something? Lord, help our faith. So Jesus says, and this is something that is really true. He says that when we obey him, we should say to ourselves, or we should just say, period, or feel that we are unworthy servants who have simply done our duty. And believe it or not, why is it that God loves us? Why is it that he takes care of us? Make sure that we eat, that it rains, and that there's growth and a lot of things that we're just benefited from just because he loves us. So yeah, we are unworthy servants. We really are. We should be. Anyway, but there you have it, guys. That's day number 301. Luke chapter 16 through chapter 17, verse 10. You have a God-filled blessed day.